2, 3, let's switch this up.
Hi Vanders and Happy New Year. I can't believe that the day that you guys are watching this is the final day of 2021. I don't know where this year went. It was just like the blink of an eye and it was gone. I don't know how to feel, but I do know that I'm really excited to film this video. I've been waiting for months to make this, and oh my god, this, I can't even carry it. It's not even half of the stack of books that I read this year. This year I've discovered so many favorites and I can't wait to share them all with you. So here we go. These are all the books that I read in 2021. Starting off with the one and only Malibu Rising by Jenkins Reid. I picked this up solely because of Book Talk. There was this girl who was talking about this, and just the whole vibe of surfing, siblings, secrets, and scandals just really spoke to me. And also the cover of this book totally fits my whole coconut girl aesthetic. So I picked this up thinking that this would be the only book that I would read for the entire summer. Like, this was going to be the book that I would bring with me to the beach. But little did I know that I actually finished this in like 2 days. This totally sparked my interest for reading again, and I will forever be thankful to Jenkins Reid for coming up with such an amazing story and bringing that passion back into my life. I actually studied literature at university. I always loved reading, but when you're forced to read, it kind of takes the fun away. So yeah, I kind of lost that passion, but after reading this, my obsession became real. I spent way too much money on books. I think I read in total, let me look, I have this whole book list where I write down everything, my thoughts, opinions, all the books I've read. In total, I've read 34 books this year, which is insane. And yeah, it all started with this one. If you love summer vibes, then this is totally the book for you. This is about the Rifa family. They're super rich and famous, and every single year they throw this massive party. All the celebrities of Malibu are invited, and this book tells a story leading up to that party. Secrets are discovered, scandals are about to be revealed, which may or may not tear the Rifa family apart. This book switches in perspective of Nina Rifa, who is a very likable main character. She's like the perfect girl. She's a surfer, she's a model. She's not only beautiful, but also kind. And her mom, June, who got into a relationship with Mick Rifa, a famous pop star. And you see their entire life story. Jenkins Reid books are always so well developed. It almost seems like you actually know the characters in real life, which is amazing. Yeah, this is a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. Then on to Girl Out of Water by Laura Silverman. I read this book because I wanted to stay within those surfer beach vibes. Because I loved Malibu Rising so much, and to my surprise I read it so quickly. I wanted to continue reading, so I saw this TikTok, yes, again thanks to TikTok, of this girl recommending a book based on its aesthetic, and the aesthetic is me. So I read this, and it's a fun story. It's about a surfer girl who turns into a skater girl, but it's a YA novel. It's, you know, a little bit immaturely written, especially because I'm 25. Maybe if you're a little bit younger than me, you will appreciate this a lot more. I feel like this book is just a fun read, but the characters are not really well developed. It does have that beach vibe. It has romance. It's a cute story, but not really impactful. I did enjoy reading it, so I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Then my first Colleen Hoover book, can you guys believe it? Now she's my absolute favorite author. But this was the first book that I read from her, and I completely fell in love. Heart Bones. This is one of the books of her that is not as popular as the rest of her books, and I think it's very underrated because this was another 5 out of 5 star read for me. So this is about Bea. She comes from a really poor background. Her mom is a drug addict and her mom passes away, and then she gets into contact with her father, who she hasn't seen in years, and her father is actually really rich. So she goes with him to his beach house. Mind you, they don't have a bond at all, so that's already kind of awkward. But then in this beach house, she forms a really good bond with her stepsister, and her stepsister introduces her to a boy named Samson, and they obviously fall in love, but there are secrets between them that might ruin the entire relationship. There's a huge plot twist, and in true Colleen Hoover fashion, this is a page turner. You constantly want to keep reading to see what happens next, and I felt so connected to these characters. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Loved this. Also, this is set in summertime, so again, if you love summer, this video is perfect because I read a lot of books with that vibe. It is my favorite season, don't blame me. Because next book, oh my god, I feel like I've read all these kind of summer novels, but we will get into different other genres. But for now, we're still stuck in summertime at this point. I think this was like July or something when I read this book. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. A really popular book, also here on BookTube and BookTok. But in my opinion, a little overhyped. So it is about these two high school best friends. Every single year they would go on this beach holiday together, and you get to read all the different years of their holiday in this book. But then one year they stopped talking to each other. They completely broke their contact, and in this book you're trying to figure out what it is that drove them apart. And when you figure that out, it's kind of a letdown. At least for me, I felt like it wasn't that big of a deal. So yeah, this book, I liked it. It was a fun read, just like this book, Girl Out of Water. It's just enjoyable, but not impactful. I don't think about this book often, whereas some of the other books that I'm going to mention in this video, I literally think about those all the time. For this book, I don't even know what the main characters' names are. Oh yeah, Alex and Poppy. See, I completely forgot because it's just not that impactful. 4 out of 5 stars because it's still enjoyable. Then I read We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. So this is a book that gets a lot of criticism. I've seen reviews of people throwing this book across their room because they hate it so much, and I love it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's definitely very interestingly written. It's very different from the other books that I mentioned. There is romance in this book, but the main focus on this book is that it's kind of like a mystery, a suspense. In my opinion, this is a very unforgettable book. There's a huge plot twist, and I'm not going to tell too much about this because I feel like you just have to read it for yourself. This is the kind of book that you can't spoil. It's even on the back, like if anybody asks you how it ends, just lie. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a very honest person, but yeah, what you need to know about this book: it's set on a private island off the coast of Massachusetts, a rich family, secrets, total summer vibes, amazing descriptions of food. This is a true page turner. You will not be able to put this down. And I don't know why my neighbor is drilling. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's so annoying because I want to take you guys with me in the next book. This is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. So this book is about Olive. She goes to her sister's wedding and everybody gets food poisoning except her and the brother's groom. No, the groom's brother. And because the bride and the groom already had their honeymoon planned, now the only ones who can go are Olive and this guy named Ethan. They go to Maui in this book. They have to pretend like they're married because of this prepaid honeymoon. But they hate each other. So at first it's really hard to keep up that facade, but then the fake dating turns into real dating. So it's fake dating trope. If you love summer vibes, easy, lighthearted romance, you're gonna love this. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is the first book in the Off Campus series, which is a companion novel series. Each book is about a different hockey player and their relationship with a girl. All the hockey players live off campus. That's why it's named that. And I read the entire Off Campus series and 2 books of the spin-off Briar U. I read The Chase and The Risk, and I loved every single book. 5 out of 5 stars. These are not books that are impactful or have meaningful quotes or anything like that. It's just pure enjoyment. There's a lot of smut in this, so if you love kind of spicy books, and this might be interesting for you. These are just very fun to read, very addicting, very lighthearted. This book does deal with some triggering subject like sexual assault, so do look up the trigger warnings for every single book that I mentioned, because there will always be things that can trigger you, obviously. Then I read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and I can't rave enough about this book, guys. This is a 5 out of 5 stars once again. This is a retelling of Greek mythology, which can be quite intimidating at first, but trust me, it's so worth reading this. It might be a little bit hard to get into at first, but the story is so beautiful, so heartbreaking. The most beautiful quotes are in this book. I think this is going to become a classic in the future. So if you haven't read this yet, I know it's really popular, but if you haven't had a chance to pick this up yet, go read this. Yeah, highly recommend. This is a book that I will think about forever till the end of time. Then I read Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is a story about Miles and Tate. It alternates between the present, which is their love story, and the love story of Miles's very first love, his very first girlfriend. It's so heartbreaking. Grab your tissues when reading this because you will sob. Beautiful story. It is quite spicy though. There are definitely some spicy scenes. I didn't expect that at first, so be aware of that if you don't feel comfortable with reading that. But this is a 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. Loved it. Then I read Genuine Fraud by Lockhart, the same author of We Were Liars. This is a suspense mystery. It's about Imogen, who is on the run, and you don't know what for, because this story is actually told backwards. So it starts with the end, which is very confusing, but it all makes sense at the end, and it's so extremely good. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Also very summery vibes. Then keep the summer vibes coming, because this is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. It's a summer love story set on Martha's Vineyard. It features a game of assassin. It's super cute. Also some like heavier topics, but overall a very fun, light read. Totally recommend reading this on the beach. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid, like I said, for Malibu Rising, has this gift of making her characters so realistic. And for this book especially, and also for Daisy Jones and the Six, I looked up whether or not these characters were actually real, because I just couldn't believe these were not a biography, but they weren't. This book is about Evelyn Hugo, an old Hollywood movie star, and it tells the whole story of her entire life. It goes into her love life, her scandals, her past. It's amazing. Huge plot twist at the end. So well written. And this book, Daisy Jones and the Six, is about Daisy and the band The Six. It's rock and roll. It's told in an interview style. Very interestingly written. I had to get used to it at first, but I totally loved it. Both books 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and again, like The People We Meet on Vacation, it's one of those books that was really hyped up on Book Talk, and maybe that's the reason why I didn't love it as much. I also gave this 4 stars. I'm not too strict with my ratings. As you guys can see from this video, I rarely give a book 3 stars because I don't know, I just always find something enjoyable in every book I read. But this, together with People We Meet on Vacation, is definitely one of the books that I liked the least, in a sense that, in my opinion, it didn't live up to its expectations. So this is a workplace romance, enemies to lovers. Maybe I just don't love enemies to lovers as much as I think I do, because I don't know, I did enjoy the banter, but it kind of gets repetitive. I don't know, it's just not my favorite, but still very enjoyable, a cute read. The Spanish Love Deception. So this is The Hating Game and the Unhoneymooners, which is already buried in a pile of books, so I'm not even going to try to grab it. But a mixture of those two books. If those two books had a baby, it would be The Spanish Love Deception, because this is also about a wedding, but also workplace romance, but also enemies to lovers, but also fake dating. And in my opinion, this was definitely better than The Hating Game, but not as good as the Unhoneymooners. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's a slow burn romance, and yeah, it's just a cute beach read. Then now it's going to get really good because I read Verity by Colleen Hoover, which is so amazing, guys. Like, can we please have a moment for this book? It's a thriller, suspense, mystery, so mind-blowing, mind-fuck. It's so good. I'm not going to tell you anything except that it's about a writer and her secrets and her dark past. This book is really dark, but so amazing. I read this in 2 days. I couldn't put it down. So good. Please read this. Then Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is about childhood friends to lovers. So amazingly written. This book has my entire heart because it's about two people who love books and they grow up together, so you get to see their entire childhood and them growing apart. It's heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. 5 out of 5 stars. All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. So I actually wish I could give this book 5 out of 5 stars because this book has everything that I love and more. The setting of this book is so cute. It's this fall setting in a mountain town, super small town vibes, age gap romance. The son of the main character is so cute, but I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars and not 5 stars because this book, Mariana Zapata is known for it. It's a thick one. She be thick, and I don't mind that, but in my opinion, some of the pages of this book were definitely unnecessary. This is a slow burn, but it's taking slow burn to the next level. Like, this was just too much for me. I wish the characters would have gotten together earlier and we got to see more of their relationship, but instead it's this constant build up and build up and build up, and then I don't know, yeah, I don't think this amount of slow burn is what I prefer. If it wasn't for the extreme slow progress, this would have gotten 5 stars and now 4.5 out of 5 stars because I still really love this despite all the complaints about the length. It's a super cute story. If you love fall, this is the book to go for. Another fall book is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. This is about Ben and Felon. They decide to meet up every single year on November 9, but they don't have any contact in between. So you only get to see 1 day a year in this book for like 4 or 5 years or something like that. It's a really amazingly written story, also with a huge plot twist. This is a total recommendation. If you haven't read this, what are you doing? Colleen Hoover is the best anyway, so please read all of her books, but especially this one I really loved. 5 out of 5 stars. And then on to my ultimate favorite Colleen Hoover book, and maybe my ultimate favorite book in general, It Ends With Us. This is a book that is very hyped, but not overhyped, because this deserves all the praise that it gets. It's a love story between Raoul and Lily, and Lily and Atlas. So it alternates between, you know, Lily's first love with Atlas and her current relationship with Raoul. The subject matter is very triggering, so do look up the trigger warnings. It's about a toxic relationship, so do keep that in mind. Yeah, it's heavy, but so amazing. I love this book with my entire heart, and it does have a happy ending in my opinion, so if that kind of persuades you to read this, then, you know, pick this up. It will make you sob, but it will also mend your heart and bring all the pieces back together. So yeah, go pick it up if you haven't read it yet, but I can't imagine because it's so popular. Then The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. This is a book about a genetic scientist named River, and he has this company that figures out who your soulmate is based on your DNA. That in itself is a very unique concept in my opinion. It's very interestingly written. We get a fake dating trope, single parent trope, Yeah, just a very heartwarming story, a cozy read in my opinion. And what I loved a lot about this book is that in the acknowledgements, Christina Lauren mentioned BTS. And to me as an ARMY, that's just so much fun. They are also huge BTS fans, and that just makes me love this book even more. I know that's crazy to say, but when I read that in acknowledgements, I was like, yeah, that's so cool. And speaking about BTS, I actually did a challenge where I read all the books that BTS have recommended. I recently did a video on that, so I'm not going to go in depth about all the books because I literally just explained them. But for that challenge, I read Almond, 5 out of 5 stars. Me Before You, I don't know why I got this version. Trust me, I read the whole thing. This is just some weird copy that Amazon sent me. I read it on my phone, but this was also 5 out of 5 stars. Living, Loving and Learning, Hobie's recommendation, a non-fiction book, the only non-fiction book I read this year. And this is a 4 out of 5 stars. I explained all the books once again in the previous video, so go check that out if you want a more in-depth analysis. Then one of the most interesting, disturbing, weirdest, most beautifully written books on this whole list, it's Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami, 5 out of 5 stars. Then The Alchemist and The Little Prince, both classics in my opinion. Everybody should read these books. 4.5 out of 5 stars for both of these. And then we have arrived at the final book that I'm currently reading. I have not finished this, but this is In a Holidaze by Christina Lauren, and I'm so thankful to Christina Lauren because their PR agency sent this to me, so thank you so much. This is a book about a girl who lives the same day over and over again, so we get to see all the different varieties of her Christmas holidays with her family in this cabin. And yeah, she's trying to figure out what it is that the universe is trying to tell her by making her relive that same day that she can't seem to escape. It's a really interesting concept, super cute, holiday vibes. Love this so far. I don't know what I'm gonna rate this yet, but it's definitely going to be higher than a 4 out of 5 stars. That's what I know already. So yeah, those were all the books that I read this year. I haven't read a single bad book, which surprises me. I did try to read a lot of popular books, but next year I'm going to try to read also some less popular books, some new releases, so that I have new recommendations for you guys that you might not have heard of before. And actually, surprise surprise, if you like this video, then I have good news for you, because from January onward I'm going to make a monthly reading wrap-up video every single month. At the end of the year I'm going to share all the books that I read. So yeah, please thumbs up this video if you're excited for that. Thank you so much for watching. If you happen to have any book recommendations, leave them in the comments down below. And that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Happy New Year.